Welcome to DTS 3D training tutorial. This is the opening screen of the software where we can upload the patient's intraoral maxillary scan, mandibular scan, 3D face scan, patient photos as well as videos. To 3D design any case, you need to at least insert the upper or the lower jaw scan. Uploading face scans as well as patient photographs is optional. A point to be noted here is, if you want to use patient images for the 3D smile design process, you need to have both the DTS Pro 2D smile design software as well as the DTS 3D software installed on your systems. You cannot directly import patient images in the DTS 3D software and use them for overlaying on the patient scans. Under the File menu, you can register all the details of your practice. Let us start 3D designing a case. Let us start by uploading the intraoral scans. DTS 3D allows importing STL, OBJ as well as PLY models. Once you have selected a file, you can see a 3D thumbnail preview. We can go ahead and insert some color to the 3D scan. Let us understand the basic controls. You can rotate the scan in all three planes of space by left clicking and dragging the mouse in the desired direction. You can use the center wheel of the mouse to zoom in or zoom out the scans. You can press the center wheel of the mouse and move in order to scroll or pan the scans in any desired direction. Let us now insert the mandibular scan, making sure that is the particular file which I want on the thumbnail preview. On the top right of the software screen, there is a quick help tip menu to guide you through the functionality of that particular screen. The help menu has detailed functionality of each particular screen on the software. Let us now insert patient photographs. As discussed earlier, patient photos should first be uploaded in DTS Pro. DTS Pro, which is the 2D smile design program, has artificial intelligence built in the software. The moment we upload the patient's photograph, it automatically detects the smile line, interpupillar line, and the face midline. That's the smile line which is auto-detected by the software, the interpupillar line as well as the midline. We can edit all these landmarks if required. You can additionally upload the retracted image as well, but for now we shall work with the patient's extraoral photograph. DTS Pro can be used to design instant smiles, that is a quick motivational mockup for patient case acceptance. It can also be used for the 2D smile design process. There are detailed tutorials available for the use and functionality of DTS Pro. Once the photos have been uploaded, this can be saved as a DTS Pro project file. This can then be imported in DTS 3D. Let us go back to the DTS 3D. And we can import the patient pictures. We can also upload additional patient images for reference. Just to re-emphasize that these additional images can be used for reference, but they cannot be used for overlaying on intraoral scans. Let us see how to upload the face scan. As soon as the file is uploaded, you need to mark the smile area of the patient. I can just left click and mark the inner contour of the lips. As soon as the selection is completed, the color changes, indicating that the selection is now closed. You can move a selected control point by left clicking and dragging. If you need to add an additional control point, just left click. If you need to delete a control point, right click over it. We can also upload patient videos which can be used during the digital smile design process. Once all the files have been uploaded, we can go to the next step. Once the upper or lower jaw scans have been uploaded, we need to align them. Make sure the occlusal surface of the scan is facing up. Just follow the alignment guide on the right, which says mark the buccal cusp of the molar. You can just left click and add a point. You can mark the buccal cusp of the last molar which is present in the scan. Point number 2, which says mark the canine cusp tip. Mark the incisal edge at the midline, canine cusp tip of the opposing side, and buccal cusp of the molar on the opposite side. You can click on the points and edit their position if required. Make sure you follow this particular order. Once all the points have been marked, press Done, which takes us to alignment screen number 2, where you can refine your alignment. Make sure the yellow line is along the midline of the scan, so you can just refine it a bit. The template passes through the occlusal plane. You can change the position of the template using the arrows. The blue arrow will always point in the occlusal direction. As you can see, the blue arrow is pointing occlusally. That completes the alignment. This is a mandatory step which cannot be bypassed. We can now map patient photos with the intraoral scan using common registration points. You can use the center wheel of the mouse to zoom in or zoom out the image. You can press the center wheel of the mouse and move. Make sure to follow the color coding. There is a guide tip at the bottom of the screen to help you mark the points. Once the 4 points have been marked, we can go to the check fit screen. Here we can use the blue control points to refine the position of the scan on the photograph. You can left click and move the mouse outside the scan area to rotate it in the desired direction. Try to get the best possible fit. Use the transparency slider on the top to refine the adjustment and placement. It is mandatory to understand that we are trying to fix a 2D image on a 3D scan. We can just strive to get the best possible fit. The process is same for both the images as well as the face scan. We need to mark 2 points on the face scan and 2 corresponding points on the intraoral scan. Make sure that the color coded points are marked at the similar position. You can click and move the points. In order to reset and mark all over again, just press reset. And add the points again. Once all the 4 points have been added, you can press check fit. On this screen, you can refine the positioning of the intraoral scan on the face scan. You can alter the transparency of the scans. You can also check and alter the transparency of the smile area of the face scan. The arrow controls move the intraoral scan in the desired direction. The square controls proportionately scale the scan, as well as the curves help to rotate the scan in the desired plane. Press done when complete. Next, we move to the design screen. On this screen, we can add different teeth shells on the intraoral scans. This is the split screen where you can see different views of the intraoral scans on the same screen. The frontal view, the occlusal view, and the right and the left profile views. We can zoom in and zoom out the different views using the center wheel of the mouse. By pressing the center wheel of the mouse, we can scroll or pan the particular views. We can also go to the dynamic design screen view. As the name suggests, here we can see the intraoral scans in a dynamic 3D view. So we can alternate between the split and the dynamic design screen views. The Show Height tab gives different options of hiding or seeing the maxillary scan, mandibular scan. We can navigate between the face scan or the image. The 2D smile frame, templates which have been designed in DTS Pro, and the lip mask. We can control the transparency and opacity of that particular scan. Patient videos which have been uploaded can also be opened on the screen and can be used as reference during the smile design process. To close this tab, press the Show Hide button again. The color option can help you change the color of the intraoral scans or the tooth shells, which we will add in the subsequent step. To close the color tab, press on the button again. Let us now add teeth shells to the scans. We will navigate to the teeth library option. There are options of different teeth shapes and sizes. You can choose between the FDI and the universal numbering system. Let us select a particular library. We can click on the tooth number. You can add teeth from different libraries. The green color coding indicates that the first 6 teeth have been added from library oval 2, while the premolars, that is 1, 4 and 2, 4, have been added from library oval 1. If I change the library, for example, if I select oval 3, this then indicates that the front 6 teeth have been added from library oval 3, whereas the orange premolars, they have been added from library oval 1. We can undo the steps. If you have added a tooth shell and click on the tooth shell again, it will remove it. So we have added 8 shells for this particular patient. For now, let us close the tooth library tab. We can also close the mandible. On the split screen, you can switch between the views, that's the frontal view, the occlusal view, and the profile views. In order to select a particular tooth shell, you can right click and press select, or you can press the shift key and click on that particular shell. So shift and left click. If you want to select multiple shells, keep the shift button pressed and click on the shell that you want to select. You can also select all the shells by right clicking and pressing select all, or you can use the shortcut Ctrl A. Let us get a broad positioning of the shells. Because of the split screen, you can easily see the change in position of the scans in all 3 planes of space. You can scale, stretch, or rotate. Any change in the position or shape of a shell changes in all 3 views. Once you have changed the position of teeth shells, and if you open the tooth library box again, if you now want to add a different library, it will be added in the position that is fixed for the earlier library. So now the position of teeth shells is fixed. and you can easily navigate between different teeth shapes and sizes. Let us now position the tooth shells and understand a few controls. Once we have selected the shells, the corner control points can proportionately scale the shells, whereas the middle control points will stretch the shells in that particular direction. The double arrow control points will rotate the position of the tooth shells. On right click, there is an option called as symmetry. One more option is the mirroring function. So it shall mirror the design on one side on the opposite side. Let us now go ahead and edit the final position of the teeth. We can select multiple shells. So we have edited the position of the teeth shells. We can now use the templates that have been created in the 2D smile design to check the position of the teeth shells. So the 2D smile designs can now be used to do the 3D smile design. Because this is a motivational mockup or a wax-up, we need to make sure that the buccal surfaces of teeth or the labial surfaces of teeth are completely covered with a new teeth shell. Minor adjustment of tooth material can be done on the sculpt screen in the subsequent workflow. Let us navigate to the dynamic design screen. So we can again select the particular veneer. On this screen, we can carry out similar functions in a dynamic way. So there are square shaped controls which can help scale the tooth. The long arrows will move the tooth in that particular direction, whereas the small arrows will stretch the tooth in the desired direction. The curves can be used to rotate the tooth shell. So we can select the shell by shift and left click or by right clicking and pressing select. So that's the position of my teeth shells. As we can see, the patient's left central incisor is positioned labially in line with the other central incisor. This is because we have to create a motivational mockup. The goal of the design screen should be to get the best possible fit of the teeth shells on the original scan so that minimum refinements are needed in the later sculpting tools. We can also check the position of the new teeth on the face scan. We can reduce the transparency of the shells to see if the desired thickness is available. We can also alter the transparency of a single shell. That completes the design step. Once the designs are complete, press Done. You can directly export the designs if no further refinements are needed. For now, let us save our designs and then go to the sculpt screen. You cannot directly go to the sculpt screen till teeth shells are not added. On the screen, we can add material, remove, move or smoothen the textures. On the screen, the goal is to keep the refinements at the bare minimum so that the shape of the teeth shell is not altered or disturbed. Let us add some material on the premolar. You can change the brush size and you can also change the intensity or the hardness of the particular tool. For the optimum design, keep the selection size high and the intensity low. Let us first select that particular shell. As you can see the tip at the bottom of the screen, shift and left click, or you can also directly right click and select that particular veneer. As you can see, we can alter the size of the brush. Just left click and hold. Let us go to the move tool. As you can see, when I am moving material, it has removed some material from the labial surface, so I can just add some more there. To re-emphasize the point, because this is a motivational mock-up, we want the labial surfaces of teeth to be fully covered with the new teeth shells. Even if we are doing injectable composite mock-ups or injectable composite guides, make sure that you fully cover the labial surface of the teeth with the new material. You can also flatten the cervical areas of the teeth shells. Make sure the refinements are kept to the bare minimum. If you need to change the position of a tooth shell, you will need to go back to the design screen, carry out the edits and then come back on the sculpt screen. We have selected the lower scan to see if there are any occlusal interferences. As we can see, the premolar area or the premolar shell is occluding with the lower scan, so we can now use the remove tool. Right click. I want to keep the brush size slightly less here and remove. So I can slightly increase the intensity I just left click and hold till the material is not removed. Left click and hold. We don't need to do anything else. This additional material can be removed as well. As you can see, there is no tooth shell which is seen in occlusion. If we want to smoothen the textures, we can just use the smooth tool. Keep the intensity to the bare minimum and brush size high so that the smoothness is even. And you can just left click once. As you can see, this particular tooth library does have a bit of textures which are built into it, so we can easily smoothen them. But if your tooth library is already very smooth, do not use the smooth tool further. If you want, you can further use the remove tool and remove all material beyond the gingival margin. You can also adapt using the move tool. That completes my design. Once we press done, it takes us to the export screen. Here we have different options for export. We can export the merged model, that is the original scan along with the new teeth shells as a single model. We can also export only the teeth shells. The moment you press export, it will first save the project. This will approximately take a minute to minute and a half. If you have already entered the case details, it will save the project in the form of the name of the case. In this case, it is Jennifer, so it would have saved the project as a Jennifer DTS 3D project. If you have not entered patient details on step 1, it will ask you to first create a new project. Now let us choose the location to export the files. So I want to make a new folder. And we are exporting both the merged model as well as the shells. If you have already entered the case details, it will save the project in the form of the name of the case. In this case, it is Jennifer, so it would have saved the project as a Jennifer DTS 3D project. If you have not entered patient details on step 1, it will ask you to first create a new project. Now let us choose the location to export the files. So I want to make a new folder. And we are exporting both the merged model as well as the shells. The export is now completed. That is the merged model export, the original scan along with the new teeth shells, which can now be 3D printed. This can be used for mock-up transfer or injectable composites. And these are the teeth shells. We can add some thickness to these teeth shells and directly 3D print them.